verses 5 and 7. In the same way, you who are younger, that's you guys, submit yourselves to your elders. All of you clothe yourself with humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. Humble yourself, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Right? So all you have to do when you're serving is you have to just start serving God with humility. No matter where you are, in whatever position he puts you in. That might be cleaning toilets at your church. That might be some other situation before you're going to end up in a position, of being in more, like this faithful of, in much, if you will, faithful in much. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So you just have to get involved in the things that we, as mere mortals, would consider, crappy jobs. Cleaning the bathroom. That's the one I'm going to keep going back to because no one likes doing that. Right? You have to be faithful in the small stuff before he's going to make you faithful in the big stuff. Do it through the hardship. Do it through the uncomfortable situations. Just be faithful to God. So that parable is going to set the rest of the path for today. And while we're going through and talking about basically these really practical serving things, just keep in mind these two ideas, just each according to his ability and being faithful in little before faithful in much. Because I might say something or about a certain way to serve, and you're going to think, I could never do that. You might be sitting there now thinking, like I did, I would never speak at the Sudbury Youth Conference. That would be ridiculous. But just remember that God knows our limits now, and he knows what they're going to be in the future. And he gives to each according to his ability, now and then. He also wants to use people who are willing. He needs people who are willing to be faithful in the little things before he's going to make you faithful in much. So we're going to jump into the real meat and potatoes of today. We're going to talk about spiritual gifts. That's sort of where we're going to spend most of our time here on. And from that, we're going to kind of springboard off as we go through and talk about other things as well. But first, what are spiritual gifts? I know, like I said yesterday, a lot of these things we hear about a lot. These terms are thrown around all the time. So these gifts, these spiritual gifts, these are supernatural ability. Now, not supernatural in the way of like superheroes that we see on TV, but these are gifts that we received from God on the day we became a Christian. On the day we gave our lives to him, he gave us a spiritual gift to use. Now, these gifts are different than our natural talents. For example, some people, Noah and Ethan, are good at playing music. So that is not a spiritual gift. It can be used in a spiritual way, but that is just a natural talent. And sometimes you have to work at that to improve that and to really build that. But that is different than a spiritual gift. So we don't want to mix the two. In a sense, they're both from God for sure. But one is a supernatural one, which is a fun way of saying it. In the Bible, there are 4 main passages that talk about spiritual gifts. We're not going to go to all of these passages. If you're writing things down, you can do that. If you just want to remember it, there are 2 12s and 2 4s. You got Romans 12, 1 Corinthians 12, Ephesians 4, and 1 Peter 4. Those are the 4 places in the Bible that list these gifts, all of them. There are about 21 of them, give or take, depending on how you count. I count it as 21. And today we're not going to be taking time to go through all of them. You don't worry, I don't have a 21-point message. Each one of these gifts could be a message in themselves, learning what it is, and all of that. So I'm going to list them all. Don't worry about writing these down. You can go find them later. There's prophecy, serving, teaching, encouragement, giving, leading, mercy, wisdom, knowledge, faith, healing, pastoring or shepherding, depending on the translation, miracles, distinguishing of spirits, speaking in tongues, interpretation of tongues, evangelism, guidance or administration, depending on the translation again, apostleship, prophecy, serving, and helping. Now, some of those gifts are not handed out as regularly or not handed out at all anymore. That's a different topic for a different time. But what is the goal of all of these gifts? Well, we see from these passages I just mentioned, the 2 12s and the 2 4s, there's 1 Corinthians 7. It explains that these gifts are for the common good, this specifically in the context of a local church. In Ephesians 4, 11 and 12, it says that these gifts are to equip us for service and to build up the church. In 1 Peter 4, it's very clear. It says these are to serve others. They are not for us. These gifts do not make us look good. They are not to make us money. They are not to pursue our careers well. They might help us in those, but that is not their goal. They are for serving those people that God has put around us. Now that we know what the main purpose is, what are the next steps to figuring out what your spiritual gift is, all this stuff? Well, I think, and we're not going to do this today, so this is some homework. For those of you taking notes, you're not taking notes, you can come back and look at this on YouTube or the recording or whatever. This is the homework that you have to do. Okay, I want everyone to nod their head that they're going to go do this when they get home, because it's very important. You're going to list all of the gifts yourself. I just ripped them all off there when I was reading them out. But you're going to go to the Bible, you're going to find them, you're going to make sure that I'm not lying or that I didn't miss one. And you're going to make a list of yourself. And then for that list, you're going to make a description of what each of these gifts are. Now, some of them are pretty straightforward. They make sense. You kind of see it like leading. It's like, oh, I kind of know what a leader is. So that one sort of makes sense. But some of them are not. So what you're going to do is you're going to write a description on what they are, and you're going to back up that description with a reference or two from the Bible. I know, shocker. So that's your homework. I expect you to all go home and do that. Actually, though, especially if you want the rest to really help, you got to start by knowing what the gifts are. So we're going to pretend that we've done that step as we move forward, and that we all know perfectly what all these gifts are. When I use any examples, I'll use some that are pretty straightforward, that we kind of know what they are for that. So after you've listed them all and you know what they all are, and you've studied them all, you're going to find out what yours is. Now, how are you going to do that? There's a question I hear all the time. People are like, what is my spiritual gift? How do I know what it is? There's like tests online you can go take. I don't necessarily recommend that. I have 3 tried and true methods on how to find out what your spiritual gift is. There might be more ways to do it. There might be, maybe you think mine are not good, but these are the 3 that I think are really good for that. 1, you can ask a mentor, someone in your life who you've worked with, who maybe you've served alongside with, who's a little bit older, a little bit further on in their Christian walk, and you're going to ask them. There's a good chance that they might already know what it is, because they're watching you and they might say, that guy's pretty good at teaching, probably a teacher. If they don't necessarily know right away, ask them to watch. Just say, hey, can you watch me for the next 6 months and try to maybe help me figure out what it is? That is step 1. Ask a mentor. Step 2 is you go through that list of gifts that you've just studied and put all this work into, and you are going to say, what sort of comes naturally to me now that I'm a Christian? Some of us I was saved at 7, so I don't really know what came naturally to me before or after. So I get that might make it a little bit more challenging. But like, what are ways that I find I really enjoy serving? I'm already doing this and I really like it. Like, it's a very good chance that your gift will line up with that. And the third way, might be a little bit more uncomfortable, it's called trial and error. You're not sure if you're good at something? Go out and do it. Do you have the gift of teaching? I don't know. Start a Bible study. Have some friends over and try teaching them stuff. You'll find out pretty quick if that comes naturally to you or not, or you have to put in a lot of effort. Both are still good. Putting in the effort is still really good. We'll get to that a little bit later. Are you good at evangelizing? Well, have you ever done it? Right? Some people, it just comes naturally. You go out to the grocery store and you talk to every person about Jesus on their way by, and it's just super easy for them. Some people it's not. You still should do it. So that's another way. Trial and error. You just go out and you do it. Just start trying it, and eventually you're going to find out what it is. And there's only a maximum of 21 that you can try. Some of them I advise maybe not trying right off the bat. But anyways, I digress. So after you find out what it is, now you know what your gift is. Like, now what do you do? In 1 Timothy 4:14, we're not going to read it. It's just I suggest you go turn there, because I want you to make sure what I'm saying is correct. But this is an exhortation from Paul to Timothy about using his gift. I suspect Timothy had the gift of teaching, just from the context clues of that verse there. But he tells him to use it. And that's where we're going to go next, right? So how do we use our gifts to build up the church? We know that is one of the main goals of these. So how do we actually do that? I go back to trial and error, right? There's a lot of options by default. Just by being part of a local church, typically there are a lot of ministries that those churches already run. You've got the kids program at your church, you got the music program, you got other things that I'm sure your churches do, and you just have to use it. So these formal options are the traditional ways, totally good ways to get involved with those, and just trial and error and see what comes naturally to you, see which ones you like, and see which ones you can be the most effective in. Absolutely. I think we need to be creative as well in this, right? There's not one set of way to serve or to use our gifts. God has an imagination greater than ours, but we can maybe serve in ways that are not as traditional. How many people enjoy eating snacks? Yeah, well, most of you. That's great. I do too. How many people have ever been to SBF just on a regular Sunday in the last year, give or take? And if you're from Sudbury, you don't get to put your hand up. That doesn't count. Well, I have. So I'm going to tell you what happens. They have the best snacks that I have experienced at a church, maybe ever. I've been to a few churches. I haven't been all over the world, so it's possible there's somewhere better, but I haven't been there yet. They had these, one time I was here, and they had like little things, I guess it was mozzarella, basil leaf, and a tomato drizzled in balsamic vinegar. That was just on a regular Sunday, guys. It was great. Yogurt parfaits, like sandwiches with the crust cut out, those fancy ones. Anyways, this is not a non-traditional ministry. I'll call it the snack ministry. This is something that a lot of churches just don't do, and that's a challenge to our churches that maybe we should step up our game on snacks. Christians like their food. But this ministry being creative, it doesn't just happen, right? There are people who need to work in this to organize it, to lead the people each week, right? There's 2 gifts right there. Right? You need people who are willing to help and clean up. There's another gift you could use. You need people who are willing to give supplies or give financially or give their time. It's another gift. You need people who will stand there and serve coffee, to be an encouragement as you get your coffee on a Sunday morning. Right? These are all options to use your gift in this service. And if you're part of that and you're here, that's great. I love that. Keep doing that. I mean the snacks. But I think there's more than just Sunday mornings. Right? Sunday is not the only day we can serve or use our gift. This is no shots at the snack ministry at all. It's the perfect time to do it. And I think we as Christians, myself included, we really get into this mindset that the only time I'm allowed to serve or allowed to use my gift is at church. And since I'm not the guy up on stage, I can't use my gift because that's the only way I can serve is the ones I see visually. I think that's damaging, that thought. I know I've had it. I think it really puts a limit on how God can use you. You need to get out of that. There is a whole 6 other days of the week that we can use to do or to serve God in other ways. Once again, we might have to be creative, whether that's maybe you have the gift of teaching. I mentioned this before. You have a Tuesday night Bible study. Every Tuesday night you get together with your friends and you have a Bible study and then you play some Trump the board game or something like that as an example. Or maybe don't. You'll ruin your friendships. You have the gift of encouragement. It's so easy these days to encourage people. You can text people. That's you don't even have to get out of your bed. You could start the texting ministry, right? That sounds great. We're all Gen Z here. We're not all Gen Z here. Anyways, you could start that. You could do that. You could text people in your church and say, hey, how's it going? Here's a Bible verse. That's a great way to encourage people and to use your gift. If you have the gift of helps or service, you could shovel people's driveway. You could start the shovel ministry. And I get the irony of making everything in a formal ministry. That's not the goal. It sort of helps prove my point that that's our mindset. Maybe you have the gift of administration. How exciting is that? You could plan uplifting and fun events for your church. You could help administer those. Do a trivia night at your church or something. Doesn't always necessarily, right? To get together as Christians is great. It can be fun stuff like that. We can have fun once in a while. We like having fun. God made us to have some fun once in a while. As long as the entertainment's not the main point. Talked about that yesterday. So I think also all the spiritual gift use, that's great. We should definitely look into that. But I think we can use our natural talents as well in conjunction with our spiritual gifts. I think a lot of times it's I know I've thought this before. It's I don't have any talent, so I can't do anything. But talents, they're so vague sometimes. I'm pretty good at tech stuff, for example. And I think, I'm going to use myself as an example. I think I have the gift of administration. I'm a bit of a nerd. But think those work really well together. You could run a live stream for your church, right? You're good at organizing and administrating stuff, and I'm good at tech stuff, right? I could do that, right? There are ways to be creative, to use both our natural talents and our spiritual gifts together to get the best use of things there. Maybe this is the example that everyone knows. Maybe you're a musician and you have the gift of encouragement. You can come up here and play music. That's very encouraging. You can be part of the music program at your church. Maybe you have the gift of evangelism. That's the scary one that everyone who doesn't have it is I don't want that one because I have to go out and talk to people. But maybe you have the gift of evangelism and you have skills in marketing. Right? Think about the overlay there. I'm not either of those, so I can't think about them. But if you do, think about that, right? And these are all ways that we can build up our local churches. And now that's just my short list of a few silly examples. I'm sure if we were all just brainstorm, we could really come up with a big list of just crazy examples that would both be fun and uplifting and encouraging for everybody. So maybe that's some more homework. Add that to your list. Go home, go to your billets tonight and brainstorm with these people how you can use your natural talents alongside with your spiritual gifts. Okay, here's my last point on spiritual gifts. And maybe this one goes without saying, and I've sort of kind of touched on it a little bit, but just because we don't have a certain gift, it doesn't mean we can't serve in an area where that gift would typically be used, right? God can still use us to teach or to preach, even if that's not your spiritual gift. Like, you can get out and do that. It might not be as smooth as the person you hear regularly at your churches, right? They've got more practice than you. They're further along, sure. But if you're a man, you can go out and you can try that. Maybe you're good at it. We can serve. That's something we need to remember, right? If to really help prove this point, maybe you don't have the gift of evangelism. That doesn't get you off the hook, right? I'm not an evangelist. I don't have that gift. I can just sit here in my church and not talk to anybody. No, you have to get out there and tell people about Christ and his message. Like, that is like one of the commands. Like, you got to do that, even though you don't have the gift. So it might not come naturally. That doesn't mean you don't. Just because you don't have the gift of helps or service, depending on your translation, it doesn't mean you can't serve, right? Like, that would just wipe out everything I've talked about for that. I think we can miss the mark as Christians in this area quite a bit, where we can also see someone who's really good at a certain thing. Like, oh, that person's just so good at fill in the blank. They don't need my help. They can handle that on their own. No, there's a really good chance they need help, right? Just because they're good at it, it means people are going to throw more work at them. That's kind of how life works. They're going to need help. They might not need help doing that. You might have to help auxiliary or something on the side. You can do that. Or maybe you'll see someone who's so good at serving that you'll say, they're so good at doing whatever they're doing, I'm not even going to try. Also, very bad attitude. I think all Christians should be serving in many ways. Inside, within the realm of what their spiritual gift is or their natural talents, but also outside of that, right? Like, there are certain things that you don't even really need talent to do to be able to serve. Like, you can sweep. Some of you, I've seen people at Northland, they can't sweep. But it's really easy to learn. I will teach you. We can do that after. But you can serve in so many ways, both within the realm of your gift and outside for that. So that's sort of all I'm going to talk about spiritual gifts today. We're going to move on to my second last point here. And it's a bit of a big one when it comes to service, because I know it's something that I think everyone your age, and myself included, have wrestled with at some point, is this idea that can I serve if I am sinning or struggling in a certain area? Whatever that area happens to be, everyone has different struggles, right? But I struggle with it a lot. First, I want to make a very clear distinction. There's a difference between struggling with a sin that you're trying to have victory over and willful disobedience. If you are just ignoring God's commands altogether, and you're just out doing your own thing, that certainly will get in the way of serving. And frankly, you're probably not even going to want to serve. Like, you're going to be like avoiding any extra work if that's your attitude and you're ignoring God and just like purposefully or knowingly walking away. You're not going to want to. But if you're struggling with a sin, and maybe you've failed so many times in a certain area and you just feel like you can't have victory over whatever that struggle is, and I think we can all see that. This is a very different heart posture, we'll call it. That's not good. We need to deal with that. But you're still willing and you want to serve, right? Don't wait until you're perfect to start serving. And like I said, maybe this goes without saying, but I just feel like we should reinforce that. Like, if you're going to wait until you're perfect to start serving, well, you'll be in heaven, and the opportunities to serve are different than they are here, and you're going to miss out on so much. I want to take a look at the biblical example of this, I think. A couple, actually, but we're going to zoom in on Samson. His life takes place in the book of Judges between chapter 13 and 16. We know that he was sent from... I'll read it. Verse 1, 13 verse 1 says, "Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. No, I wrote the wrong verse down. Anyways, that's not the right verse. It's not even there. Basically, God sends Samson into the picture to help deliver them from the Philistines. Now, if you know anything about the life of Samson, he, throughout most of his life, all of it even, he had no regard for what his his goal was supposed to be, that he was set apart for. He chased after women. We see that a lot. He struggled with that. He had pride issues, anger issues, and a lot of the times, I would say, he just had no regard for God, that willful disobedience. But in the end, in Judges 16, at the end of his life, we see that he is used in a mighty way. But it is not until he is both humbled and willing to be used by God. And there were certainly consequences for his actions. I'm not saying there's always consequences to sin. You don't know what they're going to be, and you don't get to choose what they are. And I'm actually going to just read the last little bit here of Samson's life in Judges 16, verses 26 to 31. It says, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them." Now the temple was crowded with men and women, and all the rulers of the Philistines were there. And on the roof there were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more. And let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Then Samson reached towards the 2 central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them, his right hand on one and his left hand on the other. Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than when he lived. So we see that God still used Samson in a way to help deliver the Israelites from the Philistines. It may not have been the way that it could have gone down if Samson was serving faithfully and humbly and not letting his sin hinder him or distract him. But he still was used by God. But he had to be humbled and had to be willing before he was able to. Now, maybe Samson, that's a bit of a wild story. I get that for those of you who are more familiar with it. And maybe you can't relate to that. And that's fair. I can understand that. Let's think about Elijah for a minute. In James chapter 5, verse 17, it says that Elijah was a human just like us, right? And we see that in his story, that he struggled with things the same way that we struggle with things as well. And he was still used by God. If we were to list all of the people in the Bible who struggled with something and were still used by God, it'd be a very big list of people, probably all of them. There are some prime examples. David, who's called a man after God's own heart. He was a murderer and an adulterer. Like those in the minds of the Christian population, those are the bad ones. Like you don't do those, but that's what he did. He was still used by God. Moses was a murderer. He led the people of Israel. And Paul hunted down and murdered Christians and was still used in a mighty way for God. So once again, these people had issues. We have issues. I get that. God isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for willing people. We shouldn't let our struggles get in the way of service. Now, sin can and will hinder our service. It'll get in the way, and it needs to be dealt with. It is very serious. We can't just sweep it under the rug and continue serving. We do need to be dealing with it. We need to ask for forgiveness regularly. We need to ask God for strength to have victory over it. And we need to seek people to help hold us accountable and to serve alongside us, to keep us going for him. We can find victory in these areas, 100%. I have in areas in my life in my past. But we can't let past failures stall our future service or our future growth. We need to keep serving and growing for God in spite of our struggles. So that's my point about sin and struggles, because I know that one is always in our minds. So my last point about service here is sort of the opposite of service. I want to talk really briefly, you'll see why I want to talk about it briefly at the end, about rest, right? Service is hard for God, and that happens. Rest is really important. We see that in the Bible. God literally built rest into Israel's calendar, right? Weekly and yearly. We see that God rested on the 7th day. Jesus rested in a boat. Like, we know that rest is okay, and I think we need to take rest. Now, there are a couple caveats to this. The rest doesn't mean sitting in front of the TV, right? We need rest from maybe from service, but we also need rest from things like TV, things from secular hobbies that are not bad. We need rest from our phones, the internet. These things all can get in the way and distract us and cause us the opposite of rest, right? They exhaust us, especially in this realm of Christian service. I think we have a really good example in Luke chapter 10, which we're going to go read. This is the story of Mary and Martha. It's very, very well known. And I'm going to read it, and then it'll be more well known. It's verses 38 through 42. It says, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord said, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. So, serving is good. Spending time with Jesus is better. True rest is being with Jesus, right? Is spending that time. The rest we see in the Bible is not in front of a TV. It is not being entertained, right? Life is not about being entertained. We talked about that yesterday. Life is about serving Christ. It is possible to find yourself in a situation where you are overworked from service. You keep saying yes to every person that comes up to you and asks you to do something. That's a good attitude to have, but you certainly can get so busy serving that you forget to spend your time with Christ, and your walk suffers because of it. Now, I know that that's maybe not the biggest problem that we all suffer with. I have a quote, and I'm glad he's here. It's more of a paraphrase quote, because at one point from up here, this pulpit, Jamie Martin said something, and it sort of stuck with me. And like I said, I'm paraphrasing. I didn't go find the message, Jamie. And it went something like this. He said, I don't think the main problem with the church in North America is with spiritual burnout. He said, let's focus on actually working and serving before we worry about resting. And I'm going to leave it there because I think that really sums everything up really nicely. We need to actually start serving before we start worrying about taking this time to rest and ease off the gas. I know that I have this problem. Other people have this problem. And I'm sure lots of people here have this problem, where we just don't want to do things. We just want to sit in front of the TV. So let's start serving, and then we worry about the rest after the fact. So just in closing, just a few other little things. We're going to turn over to Luke chapter 17, and I think this is going to just help set some expectations as I let you loose on your home churches about service, some expectations. Luke 17, verses 7 through 10. Suppose one of you has a servant plowing or looking after the sheep. Will he say to the servant when he comes in from the field, come along now and sit to eat? Won't he rather say, prepare my supper, get yourself ready, and wait on me while I eat and drink? After that, you may eat and drink. Will he thank the servant because he did what he was told to do? So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty. When I first read this, my brain's reaction was, wow, that's pretty harsh, Jesus. You're not going to let these people eat with you. But that's not the point of this, right? Jesus says that as Christians, we are to be servants, and we should be willing to be treated as a servant, which means sometimes we're not going to get a thanks. Sometimes we're not going to get a pat on the back, right? In spite of that, we should be putting our all into serving Christ and not about looking for that praise from man. We should be looking for that praise from God, that well done, good and faithful servant. That's what we should be working for. Now, it is also good to say thank you to people when they do stuff. So there's the other side of the coin. As Christians, we should be thankful and gracious and when people do stuff for us. But when we are serving, we should not be doing it for the thanks. So one last thing before I'm gone and you don't have to hear from me anymore this weekend. And I want to add one more thing to my list of hard truths from yesterday. Now, this is another quote. I like quotes right now. And this one is from Instagram. It was one of the last quotes I saw on Instagram. Now I'm not on Instagram anymore. And that's to my benefit, maybe your benefit as well. And it's from a great theologian. Her name is Brenna Martin. She's my sister. Anyway, she posted this, and it said, don't let yesterday's faithfulness get you through today. Just think about that for a second. I'm going to read it again. Don't let yesterday's faithfulness get you through today. She doesn't know this, but I have a note on my phone now that has that quote that I see all the time. I think we need to always be pushing to continue to be faithful. There's always work to do. We can always grow closer to God. Christians are like sharks. If we stop swimming, our faith will suffer. Now I'm going to read, just in closing, my true and utter closing. I hate when preachers say in closing 8 times, as I'm on, I think, time number 3. James chapter 1, verses 22 to 25. Oh my God, I can't find it. James 1, 22 through 25. It says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do." Let's close in prayer. Lord, we come before you now, and we just ask for your help. We know that serving can be hard, it can be thankless, but we know it's for you, and it is of such great value. Lord, even the things that we think are small or that the world thinks is insignificant, Lord, we know that there is such an impact that this can have, both here and also for you. Lord, I just pray that we would run this race in a way to win the prize, that we would seek after you, Lord, and that we would serve the people that you have put in our lives. So Lord, we just thank you for what you've done for us, that great act of service of dying on the cross. We just thank you that you care enough about us to want us to be part of your plan. Lord, we just thank you for that. I just pray for the rest of this weekend. I pray that these kids would go home to their home assemblies and be able to just serve mightily for you. So once again, we thank you for all that you've done, and we just pray for this weekend. Praise in your name. Amen. I don't know who's up next.
Hello. So after this, we have free time till 11:15 and then electives. So for the electives, we have 2 things. We have Alex and Amanda are giving their testimonies. That will be downstairs. The testimonies are 16 plus. We ask that if you are younger than that, please do not go to that. The other one is also really fun. It's a timeline of the Old Testament done by Jamie Martin, and that'll be in here. We're doing skits this year again. So we have many props, as you can see. If William can put the groups on the board, that would be very appreciated. So we have 9 groups for the skits. Does everyone know how the skits work? Has anyone not done one of these before? Okay, so you're gonna get a prop. We have a whole bunch in that bag, which Peter will show you, and then all those things. And then you're going to get together with your group. Everyone has to participate in the skits. You don't have to be on stage for them, but you do have to, if you're not going to be on stage, you have to help plan them and coordinate them. You all have to work together to do that. Each skit needs to be around 2 minutes. And they have to be approved by me. Whatever your skit's gonna be about, I'm going to come around to all the different groups, and you need to tell me what you're gonna do, and then I'm just gonna make sure that it's good. Be appropriate with the skits, please. Use common sense. I'm going to check that you're using common sense, but please just use it anyways. That'd be greatly appreciated. But here are the very fun props. So we have a giant exercise ball. We have a hockey stick that the bottom is a broom. I'm pretty sure that's a sprinkler. That is a little baby bath that you put in the sink. We have a VR headset. A little sparkly, I think it's a dog. I don't know if it's a dog, but it can be whatever you want it to be. We have a pylon. A carabiner mug. Did you break it? We have a broken wind chime. It still works the way it's supposed to. It's just less decorative now. How many is that? How many props is that? Are there any more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, anyway, those are all the props. So I'm going to use a random number generator to get someone, to get the groups to go, and then whichever number comes first, you get first pick of all the props. Just send someone up from your team. If no one comes up, I will read a random name from your team, and then you have to come get it. Okay, someone from group 8. So Donovan, Maria, Zoe, Naomi, or Ben, someone come pick a prop for your team. Beautiful. Okay, someone from group 2. So Aiden, Ryder, Fiona, Rebecca, Micah, or Clark. One of you come pick a prop. Micah, come pick a prop for your team. Okay, someone from group 6, come pick a prop for your team. Zane, Kenny, Nadine, Russell, Caleb, or RJ. Okay, someone from group number 1. Andrew, Julius, Josie, Julia, Adrian, or Jonah. Okay, Jonah, go pick a prop. Okay, someone from group 3. Come pick a prop.
Oh, how dare you!
Okay, someone from group 9. Come pick a prop. Anna, Solomon, David, Kamara, Skylar, or Brock. One of you come get a prop. Okay, someone from group 4, come pick a prop.
Which groups are left?
5 and 7. Okay, someone from group 7, come pick a prop. 7 and 5. I feel like there was one more, but I don't know what happened to it. Something might have fell. What are we missing? Okay, someone from group 7, Faith, Isaiah, Nicholas, Rachel, Jacob, or Samuel.
All right, what does group 7 want? Do we want the wind chimes or the dog? The horse. The horse. We want this? Okay. You're claiming the unscripted.
Okay, now someone from group 5, come claim your wind chimes. Thank you, Eliana. Okay, so this is also very important. Our skits last year, they had a theme. They had to be, usually it was some sort of product that you were selling. So this year, our theme is you have to make a fail video. You have to use whatever prop you have to make a fail video around that prop. So you can use it for what it is. You can use the ball as a ball. You can use the mug as a mug, but it has to be some sort of fail video. That's the theme for it. If you have, are there any questions about the skit?
Are we doing either live or video submission?
I feel like.
So it's live.
Yeah. Hi, you. Okay, can everyone listen up, please? Okay, so you need to use your prop as to make a fail video. Like you're gonna be doing it live up on here on the platform, but the theme is to make a fail video with your prop. So you can use it as what it is. You can use the mug as a mug and the ball as a ball, VR headset as VR headset, or as whatever you want, but it has to be making a fail video. If you have any questions, you can ask them now, or you can come see me later. No, you don't. If you were listening, you would have heard me say that, William. You do not have to go up in front of everybody, but you do have to participate. You can participate by helping plan it, by helping organize it, but you have to participate in some way. You don't have to be on stage. It is more fun with the more people who come up and do this. It's way more fun for everyone involved, but if you are extremely nervous about it, really don't want to do it, you do not have to. Any other questions? Okay, cool. If you have a question later, you can come see me. I'm going to come find out what all of your skits are later, so you can work out what you're doing during any of the free time and practice and figure it out. It's probably better if you meet with your groups now and start to figure it out, but that's up to you. Okay, have fun.
Okay, so we finally sorted out Assassins. If you're playing Assassins, or if you signed up, I want you to come up to the front right now. If you didn't, you're free to go do whatever you want. But if you did, then come up to the front. So, Avery Bierman, you're right there. Good, thank you for coming first. You get, where's Christian's? Yeah, I know. So, you guys have to keep these secret. Don't just show everybody, otherwise it makes the game suck.
I will show everyone, don't worry.
There you go. Ashley Marshall. It's spelt wrong. I think you know who it is. Julia Seymour.
By the way, do we have safe security while you're handing out?
Yeah, so you can't kill them until like 10:50.
10:50?
Sorry, yeah, Julia. Ashley Marshall. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, you got the right one anyways. Tanya, or whoever's last name is Kring. Yeah, sorry. It's not Tanya, right? Where is yours? I am. Where the heck is... Sorry, 1 second. Where the heck did that go? I'm gonna come back to you. Sorry. Josie? Where is it? Sorry, guys. There's too many names up here. Julie's in. really sorry about this.
Looking for my name?
Do you see a Julia Seymour? I'm really blind here.
Is that the name that I was
Right there. Yeah, Russell. Oh, wait, did you sign up?
Yes, I did.
You can't help. Get out of here. Sonia Jones. Ashley. No. You see Ashley Marshall? Ashley Marshall. Wow. This is not a good job for me. I don't know. Caleb Drake.
Hi, I'm also Caleb.
Not you. Are you Caleb Drake?
Caleb.
Josie.
My name is Caleb. Hello, Caleb. My name is Caleb.
Oh, great. This
I
is
need you to find a Josie Bullion.
Oh, you need to kill that person?
Yeah. But I need you to find the name first. Oh, right there. It'll get easier as I go, which is nice.
we're still going to be getting our names
Russell O'Byrne. Who's that?
right there.
You're not Russell. I think I'd recognize my brother. We're like O'Brien, am I right? Andrew Beister Viod.
I was ready to go. Where should that name?
There you go, bud. Solomon Duffy.
Hey, you would be able to get him quite easily, sorry to say.
Zane Tremblay. Okay, this is gonna go faster now. I realized how this works.
Okay.
Where was I? Neil Jones.
Neil, you're short, you have an advantage.
Go kill him.
You're harder to tag. You're literally harder to get.
Adrian Santonen. Owen Tankard. Or I mean Todd. It's not Todd. Nicholas Lichty. Julius Fry. Zoe Hopkins. Kamara Charlton. Samuel Roberts.
I'm very scared for whoever has mine.
Rachel Roberts.
Jacob, I see something. I see my name.
Naomi Roberts. Oh, this is a fun loop.
Why, Roberts?
Eliana Lee. What?
I wasn't sure if you actually put my name.
Because your sister told me to last night and then I remembered. Fiona Lee. Yeah. Yeah, just don't look. Donovan Sullivan.
Right here.
Give me 1 second.
I know.
Eliana Lee. Sorry, these are a little bit out of place. There you go, bud. Andrew Marshall.
Oh, big A. Big A.
Thank you, sir.
Clark Fry. Do you like your name?
Dr. Clark. PhD pattern noticing.
Ethan Anderson.
Just my target.
Your mom's your target. What?
How dare you? And away.
Where are you? There you go. Kenny Bierman.
Get up there. You don't have to move.
You know who Clark is, so I don't have to explain everything below. Caleb, not Drake.
Wow! Caleb, not Drake. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Sneve?
Yes, Anif.
Okay.
Caleb, not Drake.
Kieran Furtney. Like Furtney. I almost wrote Furtney because my U looked like an A, and that would have been really funny. Logan Toll.
Hola, amigo.
Jacob Molyneux as well.
You pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, it's only because I heard it get pronounced. Oh, wow. Addison Legacy. Liam Slappendell.
I don't know who this is.
If you guys were smart, you'd have been looking before to see if the name got called so you'd know who it is.
What makes you think we're smart, Gavin?
I don't. Ryder Slappendell.
Thank you.
Tim Walker. Aiden Binns. Tim, can you come back? Let me see your name. Any one of my ankles. I don't think I wrote this guy down. Micah, can you run to the back and get me one of the ink saws that I have? One of the Sharpie things back there. It's Milwaukee. You're gonna have to wait. Sorry. Aiden. Yeah.
So this ain't my
Sorry. What? No, you're Tim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I messed up somewhere else. No, Aiden, I don't have yours right now. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Maria Gonder. Sarah Perry. Sarah. Front. Kristen Tourville. No, I have to do something. So, and Jacob Walton. Okay, so he is. Yes. Last name Kring.
Can't say my name.
How do you pronounce it? Tanea. I spelt it wrong. That's why.
Spelled wrong the whole thing. Mine has 2 Y's.
Tanea. Okay. Yeah, your name is spelled so wrong. And then you don't have a name, right? Okay. Does anybody not have a name who's playing Assassins? Who did I skip? Who did I skip earlier? Okay, I think we're good then.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, he was just up here. He was just up here. Kid in the yellow sweater. Right over there. I think. I'm pretty sure. Should double check, because if you get it wrong, everybody knows who you have. So then you are. Sorry, Tim, right? No, Aiden. Yes. Duh.
So I can just go up and ask for his name and then smack this on his back?
Yep. No, David said he didn't want to play.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just went to a hearing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's not allowed to play too. Yeah. What? No. 5 more minutes. Yeah. Sorry, dude. Right as left. Okay, so does everybody who's playing Assassins have a name? It's not your own name. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna start the game in 3, 2, 1, go. Did you? No. Okay, go. There you go.
Speak. Say hello. Say.
I don't want to do this anymore. He knows though, but
You know.
yeah, we're trying to make a pact so I won't take him as long as like until he has one. Which is gonna be hard. Yeah, but I don't really want to do it too. I know it works so well.
Okay, so I'm just gonna make a quick little announcement. Why is that not working?
I can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Just quick announcement. And, hey, pause on Assassins while I make this announcement. No, I saw that. Solomon, you're still good. I had fully said the sentence, pause on Assassins while I make this announcement. It's okay. It's okay. It was a confusing moment. That's why it was paused. So we're pushing back electives to 11:30 instead of 11:15 because of the great kerfuffle that was the handing out of assassin stickers and how long that took. It took longer than we expected. So electives at 11:30. Okay. There we go. Oh, wait, I see a hand. Hi, hand. Oh, yeah, I'll give a countdown for assassins. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. resume. Yeah, yeah.
placed the opposite side of the sticker on me, so it fell.
Go.